pretend that this is all smooth and this is how we planned it.
We are in the right Zoom meeting. We cannot see you, Mr. Wallace.
I'm coming. Hang on.
Prove it.
Oh, hang on. So,
no, you're going to see. No, ignore that because you're going to see us a little bit weird.
Okay. Oh, here I am.
Here we go. Now you're going to see us a little bit weird just because the way we're using a virtual camera.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
It means we're cheating the computer. We're using a workaround so that we can stream and Zoom at the same time.
Well, that's good.
Danny, I don't think you've met Katherine Boyle.
Hello,
no, I haven't.
Danny Wallace.
Hello, Katherine. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
I drove into work with you in my ears today. I was listening to you talking to Scroobius Pip, and it was a delight.
He's a delightful man.
He is, isn't
he? And on the same show, of course, we speak to another delightful man called Iain Lee, who showed me his wonderful tiny little nipples.
Please don't do that.
And
she's just tweaked my nipples. I'm not allowed to tweak hers, and made reference to my tiny
Really?
nipples.
How did she find them?
Oh, for goodness
I've got a
sake.
spidey sense when it comes to those nips.
It's
Here we go. It's like a tiddlywink, I think.
It is okay. I will accept. I've done a lot of research. I will accept that it is.
The only reason
small.
I know
So what?
about your nipples is because at one point you were talking about decorating them,
I was
and I
gonna
said,
get-
really?
I was going to get them pierced. I was thinking of getting a nipple pierced, and I showed it to Katherine. I said, "What do you think?"
I said, it's so tiny, it'll fall off.
Yeah, who was going to pierce them? A Smurf?
I make up for it by having really lovely buttocks.
That's true. That is
Get
cool.
those pierced.
Got love. Oh God! Some people get a bar across.
We heard that, didn't we, in Brighton? That's where they would know about that stuff.
I remember once, Danny, on a local BBC radio station when I was working there, and this guy came in who has since turned up at events and claims to be our friend.
Yeah.
He ain't my friend after that. And he talked about having his testicles and his penis pierced, and then without any invitation, he stood up and showed me.
Well, there was warning because I was able to leave the room.
Yeah, good. Well, that's good. And
But
were you
apparently
impressed?
there was so much going on. Apparently, when he wheezes, it's like a watering can.
Oh my God! Straight in.
Danny, it is lovely to see you. I have to warn you. I did warn you in an email. I'm having a huge.
An upswing.
I'm off my face.
Wow.
The beautiful thing is, I don't think this is ever going to end. I think I'm always going to be happy and excited and get loads of things done.
That's good. Yeah, it's like with sugar. There's never a crash, is there?
There's never a crash. Hey man, how are you doing? It's so nice to see you again.
It's so nice to see you. Yeah, I'm doing okay. My dog just walked into a door, and I was told recently.
Sounds like a start of a joke. That's brilliant.
I know, but I was told recently that my dog might have to wear glasses.
Oh.
And I don't know how to deal with this because I can't be walking around both of us wearing glasses. I think it would be too odd.
I thought dogs were supposed to look like their owners.
Well, yeah, we'd look like a little Proclaimers act.
How does that work? Do they have I guess they have
Be
to have
goggles, wouldn't it?
a band or something. Goggles? No.
Yeah, you'd have to have a strap. You're not going to put it behind its ears, are you?
Is this this is a real thing? Is it?
Yeah, I think that I've looked into it, and dogs, the goggles that they have to wear, it's almost like you're taking a dog snorkeling, or like an action dog. And this is not what you would look at and go, this is an action dog. This will look like a ludicrous snorkeling dog. That I have to walk around with. Everything is wrong with this dog. The second we got this dog, everything
you
went
told
wrong.
me it was a rough start.
Oh, it's a Friday dog, is it?
I don't know what that means, but yeah, it sounds right.
When they say about Friday cars, they always fall to bits because people are in a rush to go home.
All right.
So they just didn't make it properly.
This is the clown car of dogs. It's just constantly. I nickname her Hassel, and she gives me jobs. Because we've got a cat as well, and now the dog has taken it. I've got a place where I sit. It's my corner, and I love my corner. And she waits for me to sit down, and then comes and asks me to do things all the time. And now she's asking me to do things on behalf of the cat as well. So if the cat wants in, the dog comes and bothers me. And I'm a butler now to two very annoying tiny things.
Oh, I get that. I think I've got 5 cats now, and Big Boy, the latest cat, who was the stray. Mm-hmm. He's so he is like a dog.
He's noisy.
He walks around. I was singing. So today I was walking around singing there's a Paul McCartney song. Dave Dogface will know it. Don't say it, don't say it, don't. And I was singing that, right? And every time I went, don't say it, Big Boy went, no, don't say it, no. So we were duetting together. But
It's lovely.
He is a pain in the ass. There's also Good Night Tonight. Thank you is the song. There's also another stray that comes that I call Bigger Boy. This cat is massive.
Wow.
And he's the one, he bit my hand and I nearly lost my hand. This is not even a
I remember
joke.
you saying something like this.
This was Bigger Boy. And Bigger Boy rocked up last night. And when he comes, I have to feed him, right? Because I have to feed him.
Well, you don't, but
I can't. He always gets very close to me, and I'm terrified.
he's had a taste.
He's going to bite me again. So I just have to drop the bowl and then shut the back door because I don't want him in the house again.
What if the cats just keep getting bigger?
Yeah.
I
Biggest boy.
There's going to be, it's going to be like Godzilla by the end. The word is getting out, the bigger and bigger cats. Sometimes you see those pictures of people holding cats in like America, and it looks photoshopped. And my greatest wish is that there's no Photoshop going on, because I would love I'd love a big cat, but a domestic big cat.
What are the huge ones? Maine Coons? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
And they're giant. They're like a small
They're borderline
pony.
wildcat, aren't they?
Yeah. They're massive.
Like a bloody lynx or something.
You can also get giant rabbits as well.
They're amazing.
They're probably about the size of you. I mean, you're quite tiny, but they're about 3 or 4 feet tall.
And you
they?
can keep them in the house, yeah.
Oh, that would be, that's great. I like all these emotional support animals that people take on planes now. And I think the bigger, the better as well. And I think that some people do cats, don't they? And some manage to get away with dogs. And then you read these stories about people who are trying to take like a peacock on, like an emotional support peacock. And you just imagine this flight just full of just wildfowl and angry birds. I would sort of like that.
You can get emotional support ponies.
Yeah.
But they're tiny ones. They're tiny. And you can take those on aeroplanes.
They're tiny, but they're the size of quite a sizable dog, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean,
they're still ponies. Yes. What would a pony do for you?
I don't imagine they can curl up as easily as a dog or a cat either.
No, and where do you put them? Do they count as hand baggage, or do they put them in the overhead lockers?
Up in there. I was trying to explain to my friend David Turners the other day the anxiety I feel. I'm really sorry. This is going to be all over the place tonight, Danny. I apologise. I'm trying to rein it in a bit. The anxiety I feel, and you've seen it, getting on an aeroplane because of the overhead luggage. I get so anxious. So I'm kind of at the front, focused, headphones off, because I'm really worried there'll be no room over my seat. And it will. The stewardess go, you have to put it down at the back. And that...
But what would happen if the worst were to occur?
It would be awful. It would just be awful. Suppose I need to get my Walkman out of suppose I need something, right? Or I want to get off the plane as quickly as I can. Well, I can't because I've got to go against the traffic.
Because that's the point, isn't it? When you get off the plane, you want to make sure you get your bag, because you worry about the bag after you've got your bag down. You worry about the bag on the carousel.
I don't worry about the bag. I like the carousel.
Oh, okay.
That is fun. That's like
soothing.
The carousel's like kind of. Danny Wallace is there. We should probably chat.
No. The carousel is fun. I'm enjoying this because
it's like a lottery. The carousel is that mine?
And it does come to you.
Fairground treat.
Yeah. But of course, you stand at the part where the bags come out. So you got first dibs. Sorry, Danny. Yes.
No, but you remind me just because, you don't want to swim upstream, and have to go against the flow to get your bag. You feel like a hassle. And you don't want to be standing there with, the stretching up and then your shirt rides up and then your tummy's in someone's face and the crotch area, of course. But I have a thing where it's almost like a challenge at airports where I'm a good boy. And I try my hardest not to get told off by anyone or told to do something, especially in America when they phrase it wrong. They say, you need to stand over there. And it takes everything for me to go, I don't need to do that. You would like me to. But then I challenge myself and I'm like, right, I'm going to take off my shoes, even if it doesn't say anything about shoes. I'm going to unbuckle my belt, put that there. I'm going to make sure, tap my pockets, make sure there's no coins in there whatsoever. Yeah. And it's like a challenge for me to get through the airport experience without getting told off by a grown-up in a hat.
Yeah.
I can identify with that.
One of the most terrifying experiences in an airport is when I went to New York, and New York security, that is tough. Yeah. Don't make a joke to those guys.
They're not in a joking mood.
They're not in a jokey mood.
No.
But I'd a few years before spent 3 months in Pakistan.
God.
And this was not that long after 9/11, so I got taken into the room. And I was there for about 2 hours. Not being questioned the whole time, but I was there with other gentlemen who, some of whom looked dubious. They all looked like criminals, if I'm honest. And I didn't. And I then got questioned about...
Well, you think you didn't, but...
Well, I got questioned for about 30 minutes about Pakistan and what I was doing there, and did I go to any training camps? And I said, no, I was there doing props on a movie starring Christopher Lee, and it was uncomfortable. Then they let me through,
Did they think the arch terrorist is going to go, I was on a training camp and this is what we learned, and I passed with...
I mainly did star jumps and squats. No, my passport has got, or my old passport, because I did a program about starting your own country. And so I met people who'd started their own countries, and they took it very, very seriously, to the point where often they'd ask for my passport, and then they would just write in it or get a stamp and just stamp it with their country. And the number of times in America where they would just open it and they would see like Sealand or the Principality of Saborga. And they didn't want to look stupid either. So they'd just be like, all right, and move it on. But I had this one guy that I didn't want to make a joke with, because we were going to LA, and I had a little baby with me, only 9 weeks old. It was mine.
I was going to, yes, okay, good.
And my wife. And he said, where are you staying? And I said, Los Angeles. And then I told him where, and he went, that's not Los Angeles. You're not staying in Los Angeles. Where are you staying? And it was like a test. And he wanted me to say Burbank, which apparently is its own city within LA or whatever. And I'd failed the test. And then I got the lecture about Burbank and all that. And I just wanted to get my kid after this long flight home. And I despised this man forevermore. And 9 years later or so, I was back, and I recognized the guy who was at the customs control. And he said, and where are you staying? And I went, Burbank. And he just wrote that down. He didn't understand, obviously, why I was being so weird about it. And I said, do you know how I know I'm staying in Burbank? Because you, 9 years ago, when I was there with a 9-week-old kid, gave me loads of hassle. So now I know it's Burbank. And he actually loved that. A lot of people would have thought that was a bit aggressive, but he was like, well, you can go.
He respected your kind of standing up to him attitude.
Exactly.
Us alphas do respect that.
Oh, us alphas, yeah.
Mandy says the customs officer called my name over the tannoy at JFK to give me his phone number in case I needed him on my visit. It was terrifying.
What?
Wow. What?
I don't think that's procedure.
Did he read his number out over the tannoy? I'm on 212. That's very odd.
Danny, I was trying to think. I can't remember where we met, first of all. Was it on... I know you came on my show on LBC when you were doing the starting your own country thing.
Yeah, I did.
You brought prawns in because I'd never eaten a prawn.
There
you brought prawns in. But I don't... Did we... I know we had the same agent for a while and stuff, but was that where we met? I can't remember.
The first time I saw you was in Edinburgh during the festival. But the first time we met, I think... Maybe we briefly met in Edinburgh.
What was that after
it was a long
the 11
time
o'clock
ago.
show? Oh my God,
yeah, it was during or after. And then I have no idea where we met, but it was a beautiful friendship anyway.
We suddenly got old. How did that happen?
That's what happens if you win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. That's the best you can hope for. I remember the starting your own country thing. Was there a guy that started a country on an oil rig?
Yeah, in fact, I think that was Sealand itself. It was not an oil rig. It was an old military fort about a mile off the coast of somewhere like Harwich. And Prince Michael, a former used car salesman who put his money into buying an old fort and becoming Prince Michael.
Wow.
And he was one of the ones that took it very seriously. Or not him. I think it was a guy called, he seems like a Graham in my head, who I had to meet on the mainland in a cafe. And that's when he gave me, in my passport, a one-day visa to Sealand. And he stamped it and he signed his name in my passport. And it was just 1 day I was allowed to be there. Wow. And I didn't even get on the thing. And when I looked up, do you know who was looking down at me?
Go on.
Ben Fogle.
What?
Yeah,
Fogle had beat you to it?
Ben Fogle had beat me to it by about 30 seconds and was on this disused war fort. And we sort of waved at each other. And that was that.
It's like quite often Louis Theroux and John Ronson are at things like a couple of days later. I mean, I saw a chat with them. I may have gone to see it at Leicester Square Theatre, and they'd both been to the same racist biker gang, like hangout, like a week before, and they'd both been asked, "Are you a Jew?"
Yeah.
And both had refused to answer the question, you know. But it's yes, that kind of crossover of things.
It's strange, isn't it? But I think about that when I saw that thing recently. You know, the guys like us, the Alpha Men Assemble. Which is a bunch of guys who don't like vaccines or something. And so they decided to go to a beach and practice rugby scrums in case they had a game of rugby against the police or I don't know what. Okay. But they were just doing that. And word got out and all these men went. But I was just like, they were all undercover journalists, I'm sure.
There's just one anti-vaxxer there.
Yeah, there's one anti-vaxxer. And you got the Express, the Star, the Mirror, all pretending to have views they don't. But yeah, I suppose that does happen.
Do you? I mean, you finished, I guess, Anatomy, which is the podcast I was on, men talking about their bodies.
We're continuing actually.
Go on.
We're cracking on, yeah, because there are lots of men who've got lots of bodies, and lots of things to talk about. So we just did Mr. Motivator.
Oh wow, how's he doing?
He's good. He's good. He's nearly 70. But you know, he's still going for it. And we talked about there's a time when he was like homeless and his dad used to hit him, and we talked about a lot of sort of man stuff and also Lycra, of course. So that's continuing.
I wonder what it's like. I wonder if I'm sure he embraces the Mr. Motivator now. I wonder if there was a period after his peak in the 80s where he didn't want to be called Mr. You know, he turned his back on the whole Mr. Motivator.
Because it was kind of a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a character. But no, he hasn't. In fact, as you'll find out in his book, Mr. Motivator, The Warm-Up.
We're getting him. We're getting him on here.
Just happened to be here.
Surprised it's not under your pillow, you know.
Well, this is where I record it, so I've always got a weird book lying around. But no, he was good fun, and there's no real, there's no stopping him.
Let's get him. I
mean, we're kind of the antithesis of the Mr. Motivator, aren't we?
Exactly. How was COVID for you? How was lockdown? How's that been?
I suppose at first it was kind of okay. The first lockdown, that was quite kind of. I mean, we're you have to say that thing, don't you? You have to go. And I was in the garden, which of course I'm very lucky to have. Yeah. And that's just become a phrase now. So I had the garden, which I'm very lucky to have. And we would just try and organise just fun things with the kids. And obviously they missed birthday parties and all that, but I managed to source a bouncy castle so that could just be deposited outside for a day or two. Wow. And then they could bounce around for a bit. And then it got boring. And now they're really, they're going a bit, it would be nice if the world was slightly freer.
How are they?
That's why I started Alpha Men Assemble.
Yeah, amazing. I don't know how old your kids are. Do you mind saying, or is that private?
No, yeah, of course. 12 just recently, 7 and 5.
Okay, mine are 10 and 12. Yours are 11 and
13 and 10. Yeah,
and mine have been great. And we're very lucky they go to really good schools. So the homeschooling was, I would say actually there was too much homeschooling. I was telling them to bunk off a bit. Yeah. And they seem great. But I do wonder, I think we're going to have, a real problem 10, 15, 20 years down the line with all of the people that are kids now and young adults, because they seem cool, but this is totally going to fuck them up. Having 18 months, whatever it was, where they couldn't go out, and I've always taught my kids, to hug your grandparents and if you want and be tactile. And we had 2 years where I was kind of pulling them in and saying, don't touch, not allowed to go around to their grandparents' house. And
it was the opposite of show some affection. If you love that person, stay away from them.
Yeah.
So I wonder what the impact is going to be on these kids.
We were just talking about it actually about half an hour ago, and we were sort of trying to spin it as well, you've been living through history, and you guys, when you're in your 20s, you'll have that in common with other people in your 20s, and you'll look back and go, that was weird. But that's the sort of positive spin. There were lots of negative. I mean, personally speaking, obviously globally and nationally, disasters and tragedies. And we lost my dad a year and 4 days ago, 3 days ago.
Man, I'm sorry.
And that's okay. And that was difficult for them because it was unexpected. And how do you then explain to them that someone can kind of disappear? And then it took forever to get like the funeral and the autopsy and things like that. And it was kind of 6 weeks later, we managed to have a funeral. And then what do you do? Because you don't want to force people to come at a time when, you know, contact is so strange and travel and all that. And do you then just have it? And then do you invite the kids? And then it's a very bleak thing for them to walk into a room and there's a coffin. So
did you invite the kids? Because I'm, you know, my boys are lucky. Their grandparents on their mum's side, they're still alive, very, very active. But I do think if they died, we don't think about it very often. But at what age does one ask the kids if they want to go?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to ask my two youngest.
No,
it would have been devastating, and they loved their granddad so much. Obviously, I asked my eldest, you know, what do you want to do? And I explained that it wouldn't be a normal type of thing, and it would be hard for it to be like a celebration. Do you know what I mean? And it would be hard. There would be no distractions because there'd be really no one else there. And I could tell he wanted to be brave, but that told me that I should let him off because it would be too hard. So in the end, it was just three of us, me, my mum, and my wife, and we made it as good as we could, and we made it into a really nice, good thing. And we spoke, and you know, the place didn't force us to distance really. They were quite kind of good with us because there was just too much love there in the room, as there is for everyone. So I let them off that, but we celebrated in different ways. So that afternoon we planted a tree all together, and that became the focal point rather than you know, a place they'd never been. You know, some strange. It is emotional, Catherine.
Sorry, I was trying to hold it in.
Why are you laughing at this story?
I was trying to hold a sneeze in.
No, listen.
So
it's
sorry,
just,
Danny.
You know, no, the body, you know, reacts in different ways.
I became overwhelmed.
When we talk about grief, it is, you know, sometimes it comes out as a sad sneeze
with a laugh at the end of it.
I think it made such a weird noise.
I think, you know, I'm retraining to be a counsellor, and I'm now working with clients.
You want to start with her. You know?
We're doing a sneeze model. Terrible. And I'm working with clients, and I am seeing people who lost people, you know, through COVID and were unable to go to the funeral. And there's a reason that we have funerals, because it's a ritual that we have, where we have the kind of the somber part, then we have the, you know, hopefully the slightly more upbeat wake, you know, where stories are exchanged and jokes are told, and, you know, good stories, bad stories, happy, sad things, all of these things. And there's a reason that we have this tradition, as it kind of gets us on the you know, helps us through our grief.
Well, and a lot of people think that it's a relief once that's over, because then they can start trying to get back to what is normal.
But these people are not having that ritual, so it's messing up their, you know, speaking to people who didn't go to the funeral of people that were very, very close to them, and it's it's messing them up, man. And this is the thing, 10, 15, 20 years. There's going to be this huge, I mean, this is why I'm training as a counsellor. I'm quids in.
Yeah, you know? You're going to make a lot of money.
Everybody's going to need it.
No, you do. You need those moments. It feels like a comma in a sentence. It's just a time. It's just a pause for a second, and then you get on with the rest of things. And it did feel like a relief, you know. But we didn't get to talk to really anyone, and so that was hard. You know, most of my family were in Switzerland or in up north. And so it's, but we made the best of it. And, you know, we did it for him. And so I think that's the thing that matters, that you do something for that person.
I see the Ghostbuster poster behind you.
Yeah.
Am I right, you worked on the Ghostbusters cartoon?
I was contacted out of the blue one day. I don't, so, I mean, if I trace it back, I loved Ghostbusters as a kid. It was the first trailer of a movie I got so excited about. And I remember exactly where I was when I saw it. And I thought, that will be for me. And then I went to see it, and it scared me. The first bit with the big scary ghost in the library. And I was like, I've made a terrible mistake.
Yeah.
I cannot watch this film. And then luckily the music starts and you think, oh, well, it's going to be all right. And then Pete Venkman, and you're like, okay, brilliant. So I quite like getting preview posters. So that's an old, thing before Ghostbusters came out. So that for me was special because I was excited about it already.
Yeah.
And then I did Ghostbusters on Mastermind, and I got all my Ghostbusters questions correct.
Well done.
And then that just came out, and I was in America, and Jim Carrey was there. And Jim Carrey had heard a thing, because I'd shown a producer of the film Yes Man this Mastermind thing, and they'd never seen anything like Mastermind before, and he wanted to see it. So I showed him Mastermind.
Can we just stop for a second? He showed Jim Carrey Mastermind. Yeah. That's kind of cool, right? Continue.
Well, Jim Carrey looked at Mastermind and basically just went, what the fuck is this? And I said, it's Mastermind, because to British eyes, it's normal.
Part of the furniture, yeah.
It's just normal.
The black leather chair and the music.
If you've seen it for the first time, and it's just a very intense, slow creep in, just a slow zoom in, as a man, in this case, John Humphreys, fires off questions at you. You can't see the audience. It's just a single spotlight. You're sat in a chair. And he was like looking at John Humphreys, and he was just going, this guy's a fucking asshole.
Yes. Why is he talking to you like that?
He's like, why is he so angry? And anyway, I did that. And then word got around. And then some years later, I guess some of the people who had worked in or around the film had then gone on to work for Ivan Reitman, the director of Ghostbusters. And I got an email that just said, subject was Danny Wallace, Ghostbusters. And I was deeply excited just by those words. Yeah. And then it said, listen, do you want to pitch for this thing? We think you might be quite good at coming up with ideas for it. So that night I pitched these ideas, and they went, that's what we're thinking. And before I know it, I'm getting this job. My job for like a couple of weeks was to go to where I work and come up with like Ghostbusters technology.
That's
and like a base for them, and who they would be and what the world would be like and all this. And then I pitched it, and they went, yeah. So then, I had like a lot, I went to go to work at this place called Ghost Corps that had Ecto 1 outside. And they wanted to let me use Dan Aykroyd's office. So you can imagine the endorphins.
Does this stuff ever become normal to you?
No. I never really expect anything like that to happen. And ultimately, of course, it was doomed, as most of these projects are. And people never hear about the stuff that's doomed. And this was 2016-ish, so that the Ghostbusters reboot had just come out. And had been subject to loads of trolling from people.
Yeah, because it was women. Imagine women being in a movie.
And I still harbour a theory that it was like, right after that, and in fact, Brexit and then COVID, there's been all these like rooms full of people with 1,000 phones all firing stuff off. It really felt like a sort of culture war thing that was kind of being manufactured, trying to divide people based on issues of gender.
It was round about the same time as Gamergate, which was all about women and video games and no.
Coming over, taking your jobs.
It was a big thing then.
Yeah, and I think ultimately it led to Sony, who were making this stuff, deciding to park a lot of stuff. So there was going to be a prequel, there was going to be a different sequel, there was going to be my thing, and maybe another thing.
So your thing didn't happen?
No, not in the end. No, it was the last to be pulled.
I thought it had happened. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. In fact, it was sort of a relief in a sense, because they were asking me to show run this thing. And have you ever sat there when someone actually explains what they flew me to Canada at one point, and I had to meet all these people who I would sort of be in charge of, and I knew nothing about any of their jobs, but I'm being brought in as the guy to sort of be like in charge. And then they folded out this piece of paper. And I'm sitting there, and they go, so this is a typical schedule. And they fold this bit of paper out, and then they fold it out again and again. And it's this incredibly complex thing with a font so small, it's just unreadable. And I'm like, so I guess I'd be in charge of delivering all those things every day and every week. And if anything goes wrong, it was like proper anxiety immediately. And I just thought, so when it didn't happen, part of me was like, oh, well, we tried. But I still got to come up with some cool Ghostbusters stuff.
Hey, the last film was amazing. 2 films this year where I have been in the cinema and there have been spontaneous rounds of applause. Ghostbusters and Spider-Man. Big rounds of applause and cheers. And that Ghostbusters film, I just thought was beautiful. And what was great was taking my kids. You know, my boys were there and they didn't know the history. I'd said, it's an old film, and and I explained a bit of it, but they didn't know. And they enjoyed this really silly, wonderful, scary kind of romp. It's like a proper old-fashioned romp movie with a wonderful, wonderful, bit for the grown-ups. It was that was a joy.
It was fantastic. And I think also what was really great about it was that the first film was sort of grounded in a sense, in that it was about 3 friends starting a small business. And the second one was a bit silly. And this new one, Afterlife, it's the first one that's dealt with like ghosts and death, but also with grief. So it was like there was a proper human thing that you could kind of connect to. Which I thought was great. So no, I was all in on that.
Did you see it?
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
you'll love it.
First of all, Paul Rudd's in it, right? And he's hot. I think
that's universal truth.
I know.
Yeah.
It's also got, and I don't know the name of the mum, but she's in The Leftovers. Have you seen The Leftovers?
I haven't seen The Leftovers. I'm trying to remember who's in it.
By the guy, it's got Theroux. What's his name?
Justin
Theroux. It's by the guy that made Lost.
Mm-hmm.
But it's shorter and the story completes. It's so good. I watched it recently, so it was cool. But I mean, the film it's funny and it's beautiful, and there are some, it does deal with grief, and there's a bit now in nearly every film I see with my boys. My eldest Alex leans over and goes, "This is the bit where Daddy cries," and he gets it right every single time. He watched Encanto and he gets it right, and I go, "Yeah, you're right, son. It's fine."
I'm the same, and I think that I might be crying a little more easily now. I'm in my 40s.
Well, the end is approaching.
No, I'm not thinking like that. I think I'm just a softer person. Flipping heck.
Oh yeah,
help me out.
I'm 50 next year.
I bet whenever you watch a sad film, you just can't stop sneezing. It's a full-on
and laughing.
Sneeze.
The emotion.
Yeah. Have you seen Onwards?
Yes.
Which one's Onwards? Oh, is that where they're looking for the dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
That got me. Yeah, and I wasn't expecting anything from it at all. And I had to go and stand under a tree afterwards, genuinely. I went outside and I stood under a tree. I know, it's odd, but...
And that was your thing, was it?
Yeah.
There were 2 of those sort of dad films in quick succession. There was Onward, and there was that one with the family where they were taking on, I'm going to say it seemed like Amazon. And they went on a road trip, and all of a sudden, the robots started to attack.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it. Do you know?
That was another dad film. It was great.
There's so many. Right, two complaints I've got. And maybe you can fix some of these actually. Because you're in still with Hollywood. Mm-hmm. First of all, there's too many good films. When I was a kid, you'd get maybe 2 good films a year, and the rest were crap. Right? Yeah. Now there's too many good films, but also films are too long.
Oh yeah.
Films used to be 80 minutes long. That was it, and now they're like 2.5 hours. We watched Hotel Transylvania 3. That's about 90 minutes long. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Perfect length for a movie. Can you? I don't know if you can do anything.
I'll ring someone. But you're correct, I think. But also, I think as you get less time, like in the old days, I'd love a 3-hour film. Because that was my Sunday afternoon, and I'd be like, the longer the better, and make it an epic and loads of battles. I don't care how long it goes on. Yeah. And then nowadays, it's like this is 25 minutes too long.
Why are they doing that? Is it like we finally got you in the cinema, we're keeping you here?
Yeah, probably. There's also that thing of that for a while there was too much reliance on actors ad-libbing. So it was just like everyone thought they were brilliant, and every director thought, I'm just going to let them ad lib. Yeah. And then they would keep it all in, and you're like, okay, the scene's done. Let's crack on. Stop saying the thing about the pineapple.
I love Ryan Reynolds. But I'm getting tired of Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
I loved it to the start, and he's done a couple of straight films. He did a film where he wakes up and he's buried in a coffin. It's a great film. Huh. But I'm tired of Ryan Reynolds doing it.
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
I know. I just wish he'd just stick to the script. Let's just do this, Ryan. Let's get through this. Let's put that, kind of edge. Let's put that to one side, and you can be a nice guy, or a mean guy. Don't have to do all the...
Or a free guy.
That was a good film.
It was very loud. Very loud. That's when I knew I was getting old. I was like, this is a loud film. Such
It's
a
either
loud
too loud
film.
or too quiet, too dark.
But also, apparently in films, you can take anything you want from other films now. You know, like it's a bit where he's got a lightsaber. You can get anything you want from other films and put it in. It don't matter no more. No one cares.
Blimey.
Danny, we're going to let you go in a second.
Sure.
And that's right, let you go, because you are sucking. So you're doing Monatomy. Is there anything else you're doing at the moment?
I'm writing, and I do a show on Radio X. And,
Fantastic. I didn't realise.
And I have many projects which will be doomed, which you will never hear about. Those that sneak through, you might. So, I like to keep busy. I feel very guilty if I'm not doing something.
Yeah. Nice and vague there. Do you see that? Nice and not giving us
Nice
any
and
meat.
vague. No.
Just a bit of the gristle.
It's actually none of our business.
It's none of our business.
Very politely, that's what he's saying.
Danny, it's so lovely to see you. You've been,
You
I
too.
think I've said this to you, you have been so kind to me and so generous to me. And it means the world, man. So thank you so much.
I hope your nipples grow.
Oh, fuck off. How do we cut this guy? I can't find the thing. Goodbye. Goodbye, Danny. Thank you. Goodbye.
Those nipples are never going to grow.
Fuck off, Danny.
I'll say what I say to my children. You're exactly as you should be. That's what a real nipple would be.
He's good, right?
I really like him.
He's good.
Can we keep him, please?
Yeah, I forget that he's made movies with Jim Carrey. Imagine showing Jim Carrey Mastermind. That's insane.
But that's the question I always want to ask. Like people end up in those positions, and it appears that they've kind of just lucked out. But I'm sure there's more to it.
Please leave my keyboard as it is.
I'm sure there's more to it than that. But does it ever become normal? And I'm glad to hear it doesn't really.
It's in the heat enough. I'm boiling.
And I'm also glad to hear that he gets to a point sometimes in his job where he thinks, oh shit, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Thank you, Danny. We'll put that up as a bonus podcast for free. Also be part of the main podcast for you Patreons. And we'll put that up separately. Main podcast Patreons.
What are you talking about?
What
Iain?
am I talking about, Katherine?
Explain.
You explain.
All right, I'll explain. So, in order to do this as our job, we have a Patreon.
I'm going to check our emails to see if anyone's signed up.
I think we have actually.
No, we've been sent a message.
Okay, the message is
Lord Wright has sent us a message. Thank you both. I can now download the podcast. Thanks for your help. Really enjoying the shows whilst at work. Kind regards, David. You want to be like David.
Your
Katherine,
lordship.
talk.
So we've got a Patreon, like many people at the moment in